gotten to the point where we can now do the sound deadening of the front cab.
The windscreen is in. It's actually looking like a car now, which is so cool.
So while Glenn is tinkering away with those tasks, I have the lovely job of packing our entire lives into the back of Nigel. Obviously we've spent the last 4 years on the road, so it's not like we've accumulated more than we can fit anyway, but it's always such a jigsaw puzzle trying to fit everything in and stay organized as well, because in a small space like this, things can get very unorganized and very messy very quickly. Of course, we haven't finished the front end, so we don't really know if everything's working. We haven't turned the engine over or anything yet, but we're at that point in the project where there isn't really much else to do, and while we wait for stuff in the mail, we sort of have to assume that everything's gonna go well. So when it came to actually building out the back of Nigel, we were very specific with how everything was organized, because we knew exactly what we owned and how we wanted it to fit. I'll take you in with me and give you a few tips that I think will really help you if you're also taking your entire lives into a car, or even just going away for a few months trip. So first up, you may notice that we have a lot of hats, and that's something that I just won't compromise on. I'm going to have all the hats that I possibly can. These don't actually go in the back. Sometimes they do if we run out of space in the front, but let me show you what we use to optimize the space for hats. Only have a few hands, so I gotta take these with me. So we store our hats in the front cab, and what we have are hat racks that we hang up on the ceiling of the cab. Let me turn you around. So we've installed these 3 racks here that are just screwed in to the metal base, and then we've flattened them a little bit. So essentially what you do is you lift it up like that, put your hats in, and then it holds it flush to the ceiling. So it's kind of out of the way and keeps the brims of the hats really intact. And you can see on this one, I've stacked a few of them to basically have as many as we possibly can. I'll add a link to these in the description below, because they are actual lifesavers. Before this, we just had hats floating around everywhere, and we tried to manufacture 2 strips to hang them on, but it always sagged and broke and ruined the brims of the hats. But these babies have been going strong since we moved into Nigel almost 2 years ago. It just goes like so. Okay, now that that's done, we'll go back to the back and deal with this mess. Glenn's closet actually pulls out the entire length of the hallway, which is really handy, but we've fit pretty much everything we can. There's just a few things missing. Obviously, like socks and undies will go in once we're officially moved in, but clothing that he's not wearing at the moment has gone in, and this is about as organized as we can get it. Like, there's a section for shirts and a section for pants, and that's about it. Thankfully, he doesn't have too many clothes, but that's about all we can fit in there. And then my closet is this whole section here, and then it goes pretty much down to the floor. I just lift it up like that, and then that's the space that I have to work with. But it's still very tiny, so you have to be really smart about what you bring and how you organize it. So in my opinion, one of the best things you can get if you're living in a tiny space, packing cubes of all different sizes, so that you can then organize your different items of clothing based on what those items are. So for instance, I have packed all of my bottoms, so pants and shorts all go in here, and then that way when I put them in my closet, I know, okay, I need a pair of pants, I'm just going to pick out this one, move the other ones aside, and then I can open it and then pick my pants from there. Before packing cubes, let me tell you, my life was so much more complicated. It's such a simple organization tool, but it's going to save you so much frustration, because if you were to just fold everything nice and neat in here, but you need something from the bottom, that closet is going to get very messy very quickly, and I speak from experience. Another one, obviously this is way bigger. These are skirts, dresses, sets, all the flowy stuff. That goes in one, and then obviously other ones for tops and undies, bathing suits, different categories. It will save you so much time. Another thing I would recommend when it comes to actually curating your closet and what to buy, what to bring, I'm a big fan of obviously earthy tones and colors that really go well together, but then you can have fun in the patterns and textures. So you can have items that go well together color-wise, but then you have striped pants or a really cool embroidered top, but everything is the same tone, so you can mix and match very easily, because you can't really have a bunch of crazy prints and then expect everything to go well together, if that makes sense. So it's a matter of thinking, if you're only going on a short trip, like a month or maybe a bit more, thinking about what you're actually doing. That will dictate what you bring. If you're going to be hiking a lot or at the beach a lot, or you're going to be going out to restaurants a lot, that's going to tell you what you should prioritize bringing, but then also the temperature of the place that you're going. What are the nights like? What are the days like? Is it normally very hot at night and you won't need a jacket, or does it get cooler at night and you will, and you'll want a lot of layers? So just being a bit smart about it that way, and then I think you're good to go. So I'm going to finish packing away my closet and then our pantry and all of that. Let's go check in on Glenn and see what he's doing in the meantime.
After finishing last episodes on a pretty sour note, it has been somewhat positive, or at least we're going in the right direction. Basically, it just went panic stations, figuring out what sort of success rate it would be for either getting the head re-welded versus finding a replacement one. I was putting all the feelers out there. Couldn't really find any head that was in decent order, to be honest, without having to do so much to it. And even then, I don't know, there could be a crack in that as well. So I decided to go to the machine shop that I got all the machining done already. And thankfully they welded it up and said that it's turned out pretty well. They've pressure tested it. They have said that obviously it can change with lots of changes in temperature and increasing in heat. Plus once you torque the bolts down, but it's sort of the best option we can go for. So the head is back. However, I can't put it back on because once you've torqued down a head gasket, you're not supposed to use them again. So I don't really want to use the same head gasket. Even though I haven't used it, I've still torqued it down and then released it again. So I'm ordering, I've just got to wait in the mail for new head gasket and a couple of replacement seals from the water thermostat that I'm going to have to redo because I had to pull that apart as well, which is kind of annoying. So the turnaround of the head being fixed was great, but now it's just a few different things that I've just got left to really tinker with and just keep working with. It's a good thing that I've been informed, but also really annoying news on the same day that we found out about the head was that in Australia you can't use copper piping for brake lines, so that was all a big waste of time and money on my behalf. So I'm going to have to source Australian standard brake lines, which apparently can't be 100% copper. It was annoying because I bought from the UK official brake line for Land Rover series, which I believe, I guess, must be legal in the UK, but aren't legal here, which is just my fault, really. I didn't realise there was a difference. So I guess that's the first main job I'm going to do, but hopefully it goes a bit quicker than the first time. I feel like I've got my head around using the tools and stuff, and I've got templates to work off, so I guess I'll just go from there, and hopefully I've got enough stuff to keep me busy until the post arrives.
Yay, it arrived!
It arrived! With Anzac Day and the weekend falling around the same time, it's delayed it by a lot, which has been super annoying actually. But it has arrived. So now I guess I can actually put it all back together, and then I'll let all the gaskets and everything settle with sealant probably overnight, but at least it's still the morning, so if I can get it on, then not touch it, leave it for a decent period of time before I do anything else. Start then filling with fluids and stuff tomorrow or the next day, and then hopefully be able to turn him over.
Yay!
Hopefully. So one thing that we did really like and we decided to keep was the handle to be, this is the original one, scuffed up, super worn, scratched. I thought about stripping it all back and painting it, same as the door surround, but I really love that sort of like, it's a reminder that this is a super old battered Land Rover, and it just sort of wears the sort of scars of it. Something about it just has a lot of charm, so we decided to not dress it up all nice and fresh, but actually keep it original, which was kind of, I don't know, a nice little touch, I feel. Alright, starter motor arrived in the mail. We also have like a week straight of rain, hence this lovely setup, and I'm really hoping today's the day that we turn him over. Ready?
Put the filter back on.
Nah.
Okay.
Is that gonna
Doesn't matter.